Good evening, everyone. It is 6:30 on the nose, and today's Monday, December 11th. We'll call our Committee of the Whole meeting to order. I'm going to invite our city engineer, Scott Connors, to come up and give us some background first on the Downtown Development Authority street lighting recommendation. We also have our chairman of the Downtown Development Authority, David Brins, is in the audience, so they may or may not tag team. We'll see how Scott does here.
Dave said he's here for support, so I'll probably need it. Real easy item, to be honest. Back on November 21st, we took bids for the DDA street lighting project. We had 5 different plan holders for that, which is pretty good. We also took next year's construction season and allowed kind of a sliding scale for construction to open that up to as many bidders as possible. So if somebody was busy in the middle or the beginning of the summer, there would be opportunities to kind of work that out and still potentially bid it. In the end, unfortunately, we only had 1 bid. The good news is it was a really good bid, and it was a contractor that we have a lot of trust and respect for. So Strain Electric submitted a bid for almost $1.6 million. If you see just a traditional 1 bid scenario, a lot of times you get nervous. I think one of the bonuses here is that we had some alternate bids included in that process. So we didn't have a supplier that knew they really had us where they wanted us and could just charge a huge number for the lights. We actually had 4 different alternatives that were represented in the bid, and so all of those folks had to sharpen their pencils, which means we did generally get a pretty good price. And with a total budget of just over $2 million, we really think we're in a great place with this project that just a year ago was a $6 million potential project. So it's gone quite well. Strain has a great reputation, and we would recommend that you move forward with them. And then there's a few pictures here that we can show you. This is the picture of the light that was selected by the DDA, and it shows the flower pot on the right side, and it shows the flag banners on the left side. So those are going to be spaced in a little bit of an odd way through the DDA there. I think the light or the flowers are going to be primarily between Kinney and Cummings, and then the banners are going to be every other pole, is it, Dave? Every other pole throughout the district, because there's so many lights that if you were to do that on every single one, it would just be too much. So it's going to be, they're all going to be set up to be able to handle those, but it's going to be kind of an unconventional spacing for that. The other difference you'll see here is that this light hangs over the sidewalk, which is a little bit different than we've had in the past. So in the past, it just came up and the light was inside the parkway, kind of lit up the street a little bit, lit up the sidewalk a little bit. And in this case, it's really a sidewalk lighting project. So if Deb can help move us through, there are a few pictures here. Right off the bat, one of these cool pictures, I wanted to call your attention to one item, and that's on Kinney, south of Lake Michigan Drive. So that's by Archie's Party Store and the ice cream shop. Those 2 property owners declined to join the streetlight assessment. And so there's 4 lights on each side of the road there. They're on private property, so we had to really kind of negotiate with them to get easements to be able to even touch them. But they've both declined for that, so those lights will stay as they are. And in this picture, you're looking kind of to the southwest, and so those lights have the red circle with a slash through showing that they're not going to be there. And then as we move through the rest of the pictures, there's just kind of some pretty cool pictures of what the DDA might look like with these new lights and the flower pots, and you can see the banners. Really a pretty cool rendering. They're all of the exact same snapshot in time, so you'll see all the cars are the same and all the people are the same. But as you move through, you'll notice that when it goes dark, it'll show kind of an indication of how the sidewalk lighting might look. This is super difficult to translate to in real life, but it's kind of a cool picture to show how the lights are going to really hit the sidewalk. So there's not a whole lot more to talk about here, but we can certainly answer questions. And Dave, if you had something you want to add?
No,
I need the support.
no, you're perfect.
So did you say that? So did you say that's going to be, the banners are going to be on every other, and the pots, same thing?
We had, was it the pots were?
Yeah, I think we have to specify those out yet, because depending on where the
And two, we bought 15 extra poles, lights, and a whole bunch of extra, we're gonna get a whole bunch of extra banner arms and flower pot arms too, so that we have the flexibility to adapt and change, because we're obviously gonna need to do that. And sometimes poles are gonna get hit, and so we're gonna need to have an extra one in reserve. So we feel like we're in pretty good shape with the flexibility.
And I think on the flower pods too, we're gonna concentrate those mainly, like Scott said, between really Wilson and Kinney, but concentrate on the intersections a lot as well. So we can enhance the intersections not only from above, but perhaps on the street as well. And just to add on Scott's presentation, these are gonna be replacing and utilizing a lot of the bases of the poles that we have where we can, so we're not tearing everything up. And then there will be new lighting installed across from Meyer on the east side of Wilson, where all those culverts are and all that. So that whole side will now have the new lights and along that stretch. So those folks will then become assessed for the street lights there. In our district, we adopted about a year ago. So we made a provision in there that once the lights get installed, they'll get a full assessment to pay their cost of this. So the source to pay for this is we have a fund balance in the DDA, and then so we've been going to be using a majority of that to pay for this, which is basically what that money is used for improvements in that district. And then the maintenance will be by the property owners who have the frontage along the street. So great job to Scott and his team and whittling it down in the DDA and the subcommittees for working through this. It's been a long haul, Dave. It's even before your time on the DDA, we started talking about this. So it's good to see it, and Strain is a great contractor, and it'd be nice to get this rolling probably in the spring, correct?
Right. And we actually put a really hefty project contingency in this budget as well, just to be sure, because anytime you're working underground, there's things that you're not expecting or not prepared for, and so we want to make sure that we can hit this budget mark. So with any luck, we'll be well below this.
Yeah, just one more thing to add, that we're putting power on all the poles. So hopefully for future Christmas or holiday decorations or anything of that sort, we'll be able to, do something kind of nice in the DDA district for the holiday shows.
Scott, remind me, where did we end up with the Wi-Fi question? Didn't we end up putting the capability in them?
We explored it, but it turned out to be that the adding of the Wi-Fi to the lights themselves was going to be much more efficient in a place like Grand Rapids, where they had thousands upon thousands of them, and they were used more for asset management really than for the Wi-Fi, so that they could speak to the lights and make adjustments. And essentially out here, the designer recommended against it because the benefit was just really not there. So we can still go out and do something with Wi-Fi quite easily, but it doesn't have to be integrated into the lights at this time.
Do you have something? Okay. Commissioners, any other questions? Madam Clerk, would you go back to the picture that shows the light hitting the dark picture? It doesn't, and as Scott had said, it doesn't give the best visual. So one of the things that really to me was appealing, when you look at where those lights are, they're going to be directly onto the sidewalk. Right now we have, when you look at the light poles, they're really by design almost meant to light the area around the top of the pole. They're not giving us the lighting directly on the sidewalks. I just, more as you look at the foot traffic on Standale, hours when the sun does go down, traffic definitely has increased as housing has increased around there and businesses have increased. What I love is that those sidewalks are going to be so much more well lit now than they were before. And it really jumps out. And I know this does not give the best visual, but that was one of the more appealing pieces. It's not going to be diffused outward, upward, and call it light pollution, if you will, where it dissipates up towards the top. That's actually going to be lighting where the people are walking down there. And to me, that just, it's really cool. Would love to see the power lines buried, but obviously it's a whole nother, that's maybe next generation. We'll take that on with our energy company partner. But nonetheless, thank you for all the work seeing this. There was a point in time where we were wondering how are we going to pay for this from a DDA perspective, because there was a chunk of it we could pay with what we had in reserve in the bank account, and then where we're gonna have to borrow the rest and everything else. So this has come in extremely well under budget. David, as chair, you've kept us on task, and quite frankly, the cadence, the pace that the DDA is now running at under your leadership, I've not seen in my life, my time in the city. So thank you for the leadership there. We definitely are getting some things done here collectively as a team. I know we'll all agree to that. So, commissioners, I'm going to probably kick Scott loose for the night. Need be any issues? Quick straw vote? Are we good at 7? Coming around, good.
If there's really nothing else to discuss, I can answer questions on any other of the numerous things that are going on.
You know, I've not. I'll stir the pot this one. I have not heard. By the way, great interview on Wood for the roundabout up on Green Ridge there. So maybe there's some background around that you want to share. But the one thing I would state is Remembrance in Kinney, whether down in the barber shop, down at Sobeys, or what have you, listening to the feedback on that, that has exceeded expectations. I have not heard one negative complaint. There'll be some grumbling on social media because that's the keyboard warriors hiding back there. And yes, I said that publicly. I'm fine with that. But from people having conversations in the store, in the places, the restaurants and stuff we're at, it's nothing but positive. And people, and actually it was Tim Sobey had shared with me the other day. It said, he said, I actually, when that first opened that weekend, I drove through there, I actually went back through there and went the other direction, turned around and came back through and went through the curves, the ways I don't normally go through. And he said, I really like this. He said that the visibility's a lot better. It's safer for the people coming through there. He said, quite frankly, it's safer for the drivers turning as well, because they're having to pause there, and their angle, their line of sight is so much better.
I think we did a good job as a group of coming up with a really good solution after maybe having a hard time coming to some consensus earlier on with some ideas. So
It's all good.
Looks like a big win.
Another Strain Electric project for
Right,
us,
right.
that things came in well, so. Anything on the traffic circle up on Green Ridge?
Not really. That will be going to bid at MDOT in January. So it's getting real close. Our project budget there looks really good because we've got about 80% of that in grant funds, which is really nice to have. So it's going to be a very economical job for us. When we had the open house, we only had a couple people show up for that, unfortunately, but you kind of expect that when you're not in a residential area. We've had some calls since then, but overall, very positive. And again, I had probably a dozen texts over the weekend from people asking about it or saying nice things about it that had my cell phone number, which is nice.
I only gave it out to 2 people.
Yeah,
Seriously.
That was in that article.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Anything further? I know there's the Bristol Bridge is a bit fluid still. There's some moving parts with it. Is there any new updates that we're not already aware of up there?
Not really. The contractor's gonna start working in March with the tree removal, and then shortly after that, they'll get in there and they're gonna really have to get on the demolition pretty quick. And then it's gonna be pile driving, which is putting the piles in the ground that support the bridge, but we're using a different kind of pile than we're used to here. That's gonna be a very slow process. So there's gonna be probably 2 months where we say, boy, things are moving really slow out there. And that's just the way that it has to be based on some of the utilities that are out there that are kind of close and in the way, and the very small area they have to work in. So it's gonna be slow at first, but a little patience, and in the end, we'll be in really good shape.
I think that brings up a good point just for the first ward commissioners. Commissioner Burke's not here this evening, but one of the things is to be aware of from the residents down in that area, maybe even the businesses. There's going to be some shaking of buildings, just driving the piles, I'd imagine, in there. It's going to be a disruptive summer. The light at the end of the tunnel will be really, it'll be great once we get there, but it's going to be a little bit of a rough summer from a convenience factor. So there's probably going to be a fair amount of grumbling, but I think anything probably from proactive to the residents when we're doing the pile driving to let them know in advance, know their house is not going to fall in or anything like that. Because if we put ourselves in their shoes, we understand there's some older homes around there, some of that old horsehair plaster and some of those older homes that some of that stuff might shake loose just a little bit. I don't know, and maybe not, but.
And we're hoping that this process is gonna be way better for that. We're just gonna pay for that with extra time and money.
Yep, take the time, get it done right, so.
Yep. And next year is gonna be a really tough year around here. We're gonna have a lot of stuff going on to try to get ready for 2025. So we'll take all the help we can get with answering phone calls and extending patience, requests for patience.
You know, these are gonna be nice challenges to have. It's gonna be a rough couple of years, just with everything going on all at one time, but they're things that we need to do to get ahead of where we're at right now.
Yeah, Kinney will be the other big one next year. That'll be
Yeah.
probably not pleasant from a transportation between Kinney and Bristol being down on the roundabout and perhaps 4 Mile and Walker intersection, so.
And some water main work on O'Brien, some water main work on 4 Mile, the roundabout. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
About Wilson and Leonard?
There'll be a new traffic signal installed there. That is an MDOT job, but that shouldn't be too disruptive. We may have some of the delays like we saw with Walker Village last week, where you shut down traffic for 15 minutes, and then, you know, they put up the signals across the street, but hopefully one bad day,
And then much better.
and then much better, right?
Scott will be on vacation that day.
Kinda thinking I'm not gonna be able to take any vacation next year, we'll see.
Any commissioners, I'll come right to left. Any questions for Scott? Coming around? None?
Thank
City
you.
Manager? Good, we're good to
Appreciate
go.
the support.
Yep, thank you. David, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, next on the list, I'll give background. The one resolution we have tonight, Resolution 23-692, is a request from the Kennewood Hills Hockey Boosters for a charitable gaming license. The president of the Hockey Boosters had reached out to me. This is meant to be the weekend of the Mayor's Cup. That used to be the Walker Invitational. They are actually going to be doing some extra things this year they haven't done before to help out the hockey program from a fundraising effort, and excited about that. So it's that first Friday and Saturday in January. I want to say it's the 5th or 6th. I know I just ordered the trophy this week, so I'm all getting excited. It's hockey time, so so that's the background behind that. Is there any other questions? The background that Jamie provided in there was pretty extensive. We've approved those before, so. All right, anything else? Well, we can get to, we'll start city manager's comments, and we'll work our way left to right.
Okay, let's see, just kind of an update. We talked about a lot of these road projects. I met today with DPW and engineering and Dan DeVries, so we're starting to get prepped for some of our budget talks coming up after the first of the year. So I've been meeting with some of the bigger departments on some of their bigger items, so hopefully have another smooth process and come to you with a nice package. And Stevie will probably want to get together with the infrastructure committee at some point to make sure we have all those in there, but a lot of them are these projects that will carry over into the subsequent years. As you know, the bids are coming in a lot higher than anticipated, but I think we have a good way to space that out over a couple budget years. I think we'll be in good shape on that. Next meeting, we'll have the library presentation here. I think most of you, if everybody except for Elena, was at the library meeting last week. I think it went very well. I mean, it was kind of a first blush for everybody to see, but very positive response. So they're going to clean up that presentation after some of the comments we made last week, and be here at 6:30 next Monday night. So good process. Yeah. So other than that, the next Wednesday. And then next Wednesday morning, we have our staff awards celebration. If you can make that, 7:30 a.m. up at Station 2 upstairs. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, Walker Festival, that went very, very well. I don't think we've been here since that. Okay, yeah, not festival, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm dating myself. It probably is in my blood. Trust me. Yeah, Winterfest, I thought we had a great attendance. The weather was perfect compared to the fact that we usually have, very polar vortex type weather. So it was very nice, and everyone seemed to be having a great time. Senior neighbor ribbon cutting, I thought that was very well attended, and very nice job, very great event to attend. And then the library meeting, great interaction with everybody, great ideas, and really happy that I attended it.
Thank you. Commissioner Chase?
I thought Winterfest was good. It was great to see everyone there. I know that people really appreciated all the stuff that people were handing out, especially the businesses. That was great to see. And then I think Jessica can touch on the community engagement meeting we had.
Thank you. Commissioner Groders?
I will echo everything that Roxanne already said and Elena. The only other thing I would add is, when was I at? Well, the last DDA meeting, I was able to share some ideas that were presented at the MML conference that I went to. And I believe we're going to have a subcommittee to work on a marketing scheme that I think has some pretty good potential, and I'm hoping we can roll it out at the same time, basically, that the light poles maybe are completed. One of the, not related to like the Standale area or the downtown necessarily, it is, but the tunnel has the potential for a community project of some sort. It was designed with something in mind for in that tunnel, and nothing's been done yet. So there was an idea presented at the conference that I think could be relatively inexpensive and would be very engaging to the community. So I'm hoping that that we can make that happen. So yeah, that was kind of a fun and interesting meeting. So
It's good stuff. It's one of those things when you think of stand down, you think of what the brand and Daryl, Nicole, and I have talked about it. I can't think how many times, describe it in one or two words. What's that brand? Zealand does a great job with Feel the Zeal, and give Mayor Kleine a shout out there of what they've done out there, and Mayor Box is as well out in every social media post you see. We get to live here. That there's a brand with what they've got out there, and Standale's just that one of what describe this in one or two words, and I think we've all struggled to come up with things, but with all the beautification projects taking place and yet to come, it's exciting to see what this is going to be. So yeah, good stuff.
I think we have a good potential tagline.
Let's roll. All right, Commissioner Babcock.
Yes, so we did have Community Engagement Committee meeting last Thursday. It was our second meeting in a row without a quorum, so they were unofficial. But we did come out with a couple things that they are going to follow up with everyone on. They want to request a meeting again with the Mobility and Infrastructure meeting regarding the Parks Plan and their recommendations for what we work on in 2024. And then also they're planning some park parties in June and wanted feedback on they want commissioners at least to show up to the ones in their ward, just feedback on dates, times, and if we can do them all in one day or should stagger them. So watch out for those emails from them. You talked about senior neighbors, library. Shout out to the fire department. You were busy on Saturday. Great job taking care of that, and thank you for all that you do for the community. Lastly, this is kind of personal, but also community. My son played in a basketball game on Saturday. He's in first grade, and had a really cool thing happen with a freshman in the Kennewick Hills basketball program. His name is Skylar, I found out. He was reffing my son's game, and my son is the smallest kid on the court, and he is his skills are coming along. And so this guy, Skylar, took a liking to him and saw that he wasn't really involved in the game and made it a point to involve him, gave him the ball, asked everybody to let him try to make a basket. He did not make the basket, so the guy picked him up and let him shoot it. So I shared that on my Facebook page, my city Facebook page, but I did want to do a public shout out for him because that was really cool. So, and shout out to Kennewick Hills for teaching respect and inclusion, and seeing it into practice was amazing. So,
Great to hear.
yeah.
Commissioner Gilbert.
Awesome. Yeah, library working group, everything went really well, I thought. Really excited about where we're headed, the vision. I gotta say, working with Studio GC has been some of the least problematic work I've done with a contractor in government service. So it's been a very good experience for us, and I'm really glad about where we're at. Looking forward to the presentation. Hopefully they bring some clearer renderings that we can look at that'll really give us a feel for what it's going to look like. Senior Neighbors ribbon cutting was awesome. Talking to a lot of the folks there's a lot of excitement about having that space that they can kind of call their own. And I know personally a lot of folks who have been bugging me really frequently about when it was going to be open that are really excited to be in there, and I know it's getting used a lot already. So that's really exciting. And then the big one for me was Planning Commission last week. We had two cases. The first was parking lot at Johnson Park through Kent County. Lots of exciting work going on at their park space, trail network, things like that. So it'll be fun to see that kind of come together. But the big thing was River Ridge project came back to the Planning Commission. They had made some amendments to reduce the density of the project as they see it. We ended up tabling the project until January 17th on the basis that we felt that there was, we required a review from our master plan consultant and city staff working group that we had identified in our motion to evaluate the project for master plan compliance, because there is some concern that what they have proposed is not compliant with what we require in the PUD section of our zoning ordinance. So that process is underway, and we'll have that project back on the Planning Commission docket January 17th. But again, it does kind of lend itself to this problem that we've got with the master plan, and the reason that we put the moratorium in place, because at the end of the day, the problem that we keep running into is that developers are coming in, city staff is unclear about what our master plan means and don't feel that they have appropriate direction to guide the process through which we are developing these major significant undeveloped lots. So more to come on that, but I think it further lends itself to the process that we are undergoing right now.
Well said. Madam Clerk? All right, the only thing, I'll just kind of recap and won't restate anything, that just, you know, my sermon, I think of Winterfest, I think of Senior Neighbors, that was years in the making, think of the library. You know, the one thing I would offer up to this group, and I shared this at Winterfest up on the mic when my granddaughter let me have the mic. The whole point is that this is, I sometimes in this role stick my neck out or, you know, put the flag and say, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to jump out there. Statutory, I'm one vote. It takes all 7 of us to do things. So when you look at all the things that we have going on, all the things that we have upcoming, we have a pretty good thing going here. So kudos to this commission. It's not any one person. I've heard the staff will tell you it's a team. And I would say that is serving in this role. It is the commission that's getting things done. So thank you all, and just kind of cool to see the Winterfest and see the turnout. And yeah, the weather could not have been any better. And we have I think the debrief is tomorrow morning, just event planning. You know, with the police accreditation piece, the standards that we have right now, the amount of pre-planning, the amount of post-planning that takes place ensures, you know, with all the stakeholders that are involved with it, it ensures that we, you know, plan for every contingency we possibly can, and that includes large crowds and things like that. So looking to always make those a little bit better. So that is all I had on my piece. We are pretty close to 7 o'clock, Madam Clerk. All right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is 7 o'clock. It is Monday, December 11th, 2023. I'd like to call our regular city commission meeting to order and invite Commissioner Chase to deliver the invocation and lead us in Pledge of Allegiance.
Shall we all pray? Dear Heavenly Father, today as we gather at this meeting to work on the agenda, may we do your will as we continue to do our work. As we are in the season of Christmas, may you help us to please remember the true meaning of Christmas with the coming of your Son. Lord, thank you for your protection that you provided to our fire department and our police officers as they were busy this past Saturday with the fire. Lord, please provide peace to those who were displaced from the fire, especially during this time of Christmas. In your name, amen.
Men, I'd like to invite everybody to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. If I could please ask our clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Carey,
Present.
Commissioner Gilbert. Present. Commissioner Babcock.
Present.
Commissioner Groders.
Present?
Commissioner Chase. Present. Commissioner DeShane.
Present.
And I would ask a motion for Commissioner Burke's absence this evening and support, please.
So moved.
Commissioner
Support.
Gilbert, Commissioner DeShane, I believe I heard. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. We're rolling. Next on the list is the approval of minutes from the November 27, 2023 City Commission meeting. Is there any question on said minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
I'll make a motion.
Support?
Commissioner Chase, Commissioner Babcock, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Good there. Public comment agenda items. Mr. Myers, I know you're just dying to get the mic, okay. Chiefs, you're not allowed to have the mic. Next on the list then, see no public comment. Consent agenda, we have two items. First is expenditures in the amount of $1,055,782.84. We also have the DDA street lighting recommendation that we heard about at our committee of the whole meeting, awarding the RFP to Strain Electric. Is there any question on either item? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
So moved?
Support.
Commissioner Groders, Commissioner DeShane, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? We are passed. Thank you. Next on the list is Resolution 23-692, the request from Kennewood Hills Hockey Boosters for a charitable gaming license. We just discussed that as well in the committee of the whole meeting. Is there any questions on said resolution? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
I will make a motion.
I'll support.
Commissioner Babcock, Commissioner Chase, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, thank you. Next on the list, other public comment. Seeing none. Commissioner, city managers, we'll go around the horn one more time. Madam Clerk? Commissioners, coming around, commissioners. All right, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment, and we'll see everybody back here next Monday night.
Motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Gilbert, Commissioner Chase, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you.